Artisan, educator, and devoted tradition bearer, Jack Martin of Selmer, Tennessee is a fourth-generation broom maker continuing the craft he learned from his grandfather.
Jack is well known in the community here, as the broom maker, the guy with the beard, and you see him all over town. He's always doing something involved with the community, and he is a very valued part of this community. He's respected and loved for his preservation of the craft, but also just for the kind of person that he is. He's active at his church. He plays in a band which plays around the area. Every benefit you've got going on, you'll find Jack's band out there at it, or playing private gigs and things like that.
Owner of Hockaday Handmade Brooms, Mr. Martin still operates his great-grandfather's nearly 100-year-old equipment. He creates every broom by hand, and they are found in prestigious museums and collections, including the Smithsonian.
They're self-taught broom makers over the course of those generations. It's been handed down from generation to generation, and at that time it was kind of a staple of farm life in McNairy County. Several broom makers were doing that same thing, subsistence farming supplemented by broom making in the winter when they dry their own broom corn and that kind of thing, just so they would have a product when it wasn't growing season. And so that's how that got started, but Jack's family was they were some of the first in this area to do that, and of course became very adept at it.
With guidance from his grandfather, Mr. Martin learned to make brooms in the tradition passed down through his family.
Well, the only apprenticeship was my granddad. When he took me out here in the shed, he said, "Here, I'm going to show you how to do this one time, you watch me." He made a broom one time and made sure I washed him. Now, after I made my first broom, he made me take that broom apart and put it back together about 7 times so that I could understand the way the brooms go together and the way they come apart. That was my apprenticeship.
Probably the important thing that Jack did was that when he first started in the 80s, this old seed stock had been gone for years, and most people even today, if they make brooms, and there are a precious few of those, buy broom corn from Texas and Mexico. But Jack was able to go back and replenish the seed stock and start growing his own broom corn here on the farm, just as his predecessors had done in the generations of his family. And that was an important part of what he was doing too.
In 1996, Mr. Martin started the Broom Corn Festival, a successful annual event held in Selmer, partnering with McNairy County's tourism, economic, and cultural development agencies.
Eddie Jack has connections with so many artisans across the state that, and he basically recruits them to his festival. And of course, it's a lot of the tradition is built by Eddie Jack. He's done it all himself. And of course, he's been across this state with his brooms, and he's made these connections. And when this festival comes about, usually all these artisans will come. And he usually has between, I think he's had the least amount, it's probably around 20. He's had up to at least 35 artisans to come.
Hockaday Handmade Brooms have been featured on PBS, DIY Network, and HGTV. Mr. Martin has been presented with the McNairy County Ambassador Award, and he represented American folk culture at the 1996 Summer Olympic Games in Atlanta.
Jack has not only preserved this folk art form that was part of his family, but by his count, over the course of 30 years of doing this, he has demonstrated that craft, that skill for more than 1 million school children in the state of Tennessee, who now have some understanding about what it is to be a heritage craftsman in this state.
Now teaching the family business to his own children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, Mr. Martin secures the broom-making tradition for future generations. By reviving Hockaday Handmade Brooms, Jack Martin has ensured this cultural treasure will be valued for decades to come.
He's been an ambassador for McNairy County for years, and I think he truly could be an ambassador for this state with his sheer, not only his talent, but just Eddie Jack's personality and how comfortable he is with people and how at ease he can make people and how much passion he has for what he does.